Okay, hi. My name is Brad McCoy. I manage Greater Los Angeles here in Los Angeles, so I'm close to home. Most of you I know are probably from the territories, about half and half, looks like. How many people are from outside of California, just so I know? Okay, good. Yeah, it's a little over half. You are in using your laptop to your advantage. Again, I'm Brad McCoy. What I want to do is we're going to take about an hour to get through some things, but I do want to lay down just some kind of ground rules and let you know what this is about, or at least how I've chosen to go about it. I had a couple of different choices to make. One is we could get down real detail-oriented on the application side, but in my opinion, you wouldn't have learned anything. So what my hope was to give you a broad brush overview of some of the potential for the things that are sitting on your desktop right now, or in your laptop, as the case should be. But I am serving dinner. I am not the chef. So I'm not going to tell you how to make the meal. I'm just going to serve it up, okay? So we're going to fly through this. And as Hoyt Wilkinson says, I'm going to ask you to drink from a fire hose. We're going to cover a lot of things. There'll be questions at the end. If you have something in the middle that you really think is appropriate at that time, do raise your hand and I'll grab you. But we'll have a chance to get some questions at the end here. So the agenda, what we're going to cover, just to give you a sense, is the bundle book, which is what you have in your hand. And it's a reference for you to take back. The context, which is why should you bother learning this stuff. Marketing, what you can do about marketing using your laptop, which I know we all think a lot about, especially those of us in California who used to have marketing development officers. Pipeline management, communication, and research. Knowledge is power. So the bundle book is what is in your hand. It's a low-tech example of what we're talking about and some items that we won't cover in depth. In fact, all the items we're not going to cover in depth. I'm just going to skip along over most of them. It's broken up into sections, which are what the tabs are for, and you can retain it as a reference to go back to, hopefully, as we go forward. Okay? So what's the big deal? This is to give you a sense of context. It's right after the first tab. Why should I bother learning this stuff? And a quote from a guy who's an eternal optimist, Lester Thoreau: knowledge workers are now fired when not needed and have their real wages reduced when alternative, cheaper supplies are found. Lucy Reed is an alternative source, by the way. Firms invest in less on-the-job skills of their employees since they know few of them will be around in the future. And that's most of us. And so I wanted to give a backdrop because if you buy this piece of it, if you read the book Future Capitalism or anyone else's book that's talking about information technology today, those who do not catch this wave are in big trouble of being obsolete. That includes CLOs especially. What's this class worth? This is just a grid showing if your salary is X, salary and bonus combined, what's your time worth as you go across there. We're kind of at 30,000 square feet right now, so we'll get down to ground level in a minute. But I guarantee you I can save you at least 15 minutes a day. Or you can save you 15 minutes a day if you follow my lead here and buy into this stuff. So the only thing I'm asking for is based on where your salary level is, if you'll give me that 15 minutes a day in the form of a check before you leave, I'd appreciate it. So this is a very big deal indeed. If you jump forward to the next slide, I could feed you today, but I'd rather teach you to fish so you can feed yourself for the rest of your life. Some Indian guy. I couldn't find the author. Everybody has this, and I had a couple of quotes I want to start with to give it context, but it's true. I mean, what I'm going to do is show you some things. You got to go out and figure out how to hunt. I'll help you do it, but ultimately, it's a personal responsibility that you have to take on. Like Thoreau said, same paragraph from the book, with downsizing, responsibility for the investment in on-the-job skills shifts from the employer to the employee, meaning you own it. You just got to figure out how to take this stuff and do something with it, because the information is worth a lot. It's worth a lot to you personally. If you think of yourself as a self-incorporated person, and you buy what Walter Wriston said at Citibank, he said they're an information technology company who just happens to be in the banking business. Sounds kind of like Carl Reichert saying he's a businessman who just happens to run a bank. And there's the example of what's information worth. You look at Microsoft, their only asset is the human imagination in the factory, and they have a greater stock market value than GM. One last thing, and then we'll hit the ground and run through this. From the book Jamming, talks about the age of creativity, specifically as it relates to the individual professional and what you do with it. I mean, we have skipped right through the information age. I mean, it's not just the information age. That's a given. information and quality, all of that is an absolute given now. And so the question is, what do? I mean, you take your imagination, inspiration, ingenuity, initiative, and that all sums up to creativity. And we're going to talk about a couple things that I've built, some other people have built today, that are really just the outgrowth of this creativity. And they've made me a lot of money, and hopefully they'll make you a lot of money, but it's just a start. You know, once you see the potential for the technology, my hope is that you'll use it and you'll figure out new businesses for us to go into, or new processes, or ways to streamline it, and you'll make a lot more money. You know, consider the examples of DreamWorks. $2.7 billion is what they think they're worth. They have no assets to speak of, really. Not the lumpy stuff that we deal with, Disney, Microsoft. So let's jump into this. If you go to the first tab, Marketing and Prospect Management. Again, the theme here is we're going to go real fast. So I'm going to touch on some things, and then you got to go out and figure out how to use the applications. This isn't an applications class, okay? Proposal letters and templates. One thing that you're competing against people primarily who are not giving a lot of written information to clients. They're not adding a lot of value. Neither do we when we don't do it. When we go out with our financial calculator and just tell people what the payment is on a real estate loan, we have done nothing to add value to that person, because anybody can do that. Then it's just a function of the rate. What I'm going to show you are a couple of things that you can do. All of your managers probably by Monday or Tuesday will have all of these templates if they don't already have them. BFO Sales is one example, but these are things that you can customize a little bit more than what you can do in BFO Sales. So example, I have a client that calls and wants $1 million fixed rate real estate loan. You fill in the amount. It really doesn't matter, because if I want to, and this is the beauty of it, I give all this information to the borrower, and I should probably show you what it looks like. If you will do me a favor, and I'm going to ask, we're going to jump forward and backward in this section just a little bit. If you will go to the 5th page, I think it is. It looks like that. There you go, Steve, you got it right there. Just these 3 little grids. Looks kind of like, it will look like that. Should look like that. But I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so we can see what I'm doing. And you can see up here, fixed rate loan scenario, adjustable rate with cap, adjustable rate with 4% lifetime cap, because what happens? You give them a payment on one loan, the minute you mention there's a fixed rate option, well, what's the rate on that? Well, what's the payment on that? And you're going back and forth. And what this will allow you to do is generate this proposal for them. And it's a loan scenario on here. If you see, it's real estate loan scenario. It doesn't say proposal, and it's got the appropriate disclosures that rates and terms are subject to change. And, you know, I'm not committing, but what I am giving you is information to make a decision. And that's important. I mean, you hear a lot of people talk about consultative value. And this is a very consultative tool, because it gives you the ability to change amounts on the fly. You change the rate. So in this case, let's say a fixed rate loan scenario, amortized over 30 years. And I'm going to change the due in to 10. And you see what it does is it goes down in the monthly payment range, and it updates the payment, both high and low. I should change the rate here to, say, 10 and a half, high on the high end. And that way we take into account the risk tier pricing. Gives them a best and worst case payment scenario. But if the person said, well, what about the 15-year option on the fixed rate loan? I could just change that. The thing is, you can save this. It's reusable data, and you can go back on that client when they change something on you, and you can do it again. You don't have to regenerate this. And when you're competing against somebody, we're going to get to the desktop faxing thing in a few minutes, but the thing is, person calls you and they start hammering you with questions. All you have to do is say, how much is the project? What's your fax number? Great. I'm going to send this over, and then let's talk, okay? And then you send this over, and it lays it all out. In fact, better than that, what it does is it lays it all out, and it gives them all their costs. I mean, we're doing the job that the title companies or somebody else should do, is at least giving them an estimate of how much, you know, what's the appraisal, how much is title, how much is escrow, what's the recording fee, et cetera. And the reason that it's in an Excel spreadsheet is that territory by territory, you might have a little bit different flavor in terms of how much title is, or maybe the appraisal is going to cost you a little bit different. You can update that, and really, you can add text in here and do whatever you need to do, but the idea is it just calculates it for you, and you're leveraging your laptop so that you're not doing this stuff longhand. You don't even have to leave your desk. I could generate this, go file, print a WinFax, and I could just send it right over to their office right now. Do it on the fly. Yeah. You bet. It's really easy to